Welcome everyone. Welcome to the organizational behavior concept controversial applications. Today we are using OC behavior owned by Pearson. This is in chapter 2, perception, personality, and emotions. Okay, by Pearson Canada Incorporated. So chapter 1 outline will have a number of focus. Let's say perception is the one. Factors that influence perception. Number 2, perceptual error. Number 3, why do perception and judgment matters. Okay, that's the first perception outline. Second one is personality. What is personality? Measuring personality, personal determines, personality traits, the dark triad, and other personal attributes that influence the organizational behavior. OB means organizational behavior, okay? And then chapter 3, and then the next one, outline will be the emotion. What are the emotion and moods? Choosing emotion labor. What do we care about emotion in the workplace? So in terms of defining outcome, the learning outcome for this, in defining perception and explain the factor that influence it, explain the attribute theory and the three determinants of attributions, describe the personality, the way it is measured, and the factor it shape it. And number 4, describe the Myers-Briggs type indicator personality framework and its strengths and weaknesses. Number 5, identify the feature of the Big Five personality model and determine how it can be used to predict behavior at work. Number 6, differentiate between emotion and moods. Number 7, explain the impact of emotional labor on employees. And number 8, contrast the evidence for and against the existence of emotional intelligence. Number 9, identify the strategy for emotion regulation and their likely effect. What is perception? Let's focus on perception. That's what six slide here. The process which individuals organize and interpret their impression to give meaning to their environment. Why is important? Because the behavior is based on perception of what reality is and not on reality itself. The world as it's perceived in the world that is behaviorally important. Factor influencing perception: the perceiver, the target, and the situations. What are the 2.4 factors that influence perception? The situation, time, work setting, and social thing. Go to the perception here. The perceiver, attitudes, motive, interest, experience, expectations go here. And the target, from novelty, emotion, sound, science, background, processing, to go to all the perception here. Okay, that's the perception, the situation, the target, and the perceiver. The perpetual errors, attribute theory. There's selective perception. There's a halo effect. There's contrast effect. There's a stereotyping. We'll discuss this in detail in the next slide. Perceptual error. What is the attribution theory? The theory that we have observed what seems likely typical behavior by an individual, we attempt to determine whether it is internally or externally caused. In trying to determine whether behavior is internally or externally caused, we rely on three rules about the behavior: distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. Okay? Distinctiveness, a behavior rule that considers whether an individual acts similar across a variety of situations. Consensus is a behavior rule that considers whether everyone faces similar situations, respond in the same way. Does the individual act in the same as others in the same situations? Consistency, a behavior that considers whether the individual has been acting in the same way over time. Okay. In Exhibit 2, we're going to see the attribution theory here. From observation, interpretation, attribution, of course. Individual behavior go all the way to consensus. How often do other people do in similar situations, such as external, internal, low and high, and there's as well consistency and distinctiveness. This is also external high. So the process involves an observation, interpretation, and attribution of the cause. Okay, the process begins with the observation of individual behavior, which is interpreted as distinctiveness, consensus, and consistency. The three interpretations are explained as follows: distinctness is how often does the person do this in other situations. Okay, consensus is how often do other people do this in similar situations, and consistency is how often did the person do this in the past. Each has its own perceptual error as well. How attribution gets distorted in fundamental attribution error. The tendency to underestimate the influence of external factors and overestimate the influence of internal factors when making judgment about the behavior of others. The self-basing bias here get distorted. How they get distorted? The tendency of individual to attribute their own successive internal factors while putting the blame or for failure over external factors. Exhibit 2.3 percentage of individual rating themselves above average in each attribute. So in terms of the long division, the x-axis is the attributes of performance, sense of humor, and ability to get along with others. The y-axis represent percentage from 0 to 100 with an increment of 20%. The Tartarian follows performance 78%, sense of humor is 96%, okay, and ability to get along with 96% is the ability to get along with others, while the 84%, the average is shown here by a red horizon at 50%. Okay, so what are these? The data follows performance is 78% here, sense of humor is 96%, and ability to get along with us is 84%. This you have to understand this concept here. Okay. Alright, perceptual error continues here. Selective perception, people selective interpretation, what they see based on the interest, background, experience of the and attitudes. And that's what is halo effect. Halo effect is drawing a general impression of an individual on the basis of a single characteristic. Contrast effect is the concept of our reaction to one person is often influenced by other people we have recently encountered. Stereotyping, judging someone on the basis of one perception of the group to which the persons belong. Heuristic is judgment shortcut in decision making. Why do perception judgment matter? Most obvious application of judgment shortcut in the workplace is employment interviews, performance expectation, and performance evaluations. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Why do the perception judgment matter? There's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a concept that purpose people will behave in ways consistent with how they are perceived by others. What is personality? Personality is the sum of total ways in which the individual reacts and interacts with others. The stable patterns of behavior and consistent internal state that determine how individual reacts, interact with the others. In terms of measuring personality, research indicates that personality tests are useful in hiring decisions. Okay, scores of personality tests help manager forecast who is best fit for the job. That is the key part, personality. And we continue. In measuring personality, their self-report survey, individuals evaluate themselves in search of factors, consider ratings, providing independent assessment of personality, tend to be more accurate and predictors of success on the job. Okay. There is a personality determined, which is heredity, environment factors, as well as situation factors. There's as well as personal trait that are enduring characteristics that describe individual behavior, such as the MBTI indicator. We call it the Myers-Briggs type indicators, MBTI, and the Big Five personality model. What is MBTI? It is a personality test that taps for characteristics or classify people into 1 to 16 personality types. Personality tests determine how people usually react and act, feel in particular situations. MBTI classifications such as extrovert E, introvert I, sensing, intuitive N, thinking and feeling F, perceiving and judging J, combined form personality type, these three types which is INTJ and T appears. INTJ, ESTJ, and TP. Okay, this is the one. While the Big Five model is a personality assessment model that has 5 basic dimensions. What are the 5 basic personality dimensions? Extraversion, agreeableness, consciousness, emotional stability, and openness to experience. Okay, let me just go back, make sure we have to have the 5 basic personality here. And this is the exhibit shows you here Personality traits correspond to long extreme behavior are listed as follows. Extraversion here, reserve, timid and quiet. Okay. Agreeableness, cold, disagreeable, antagonistic. Conscientiousness, early distracted, disorganized, unreliable. Emotional stability, hostile, anxious, depressed, and insecure. The opposite will be calm, self-confident, secure. Openness to experience, unimaginable, inflexible, literally minded, and dull. The positive side is creative, flexible, curious, and artistic. Okay, this shows you extreme behavior differences between the low and high. Okay, then we go to the big five presented on the OB. The big five traits are listed one below the other: emotional ability, extraversion, okay, openness, agreeableness, consciousness. The third point is what is this relevant? The detail will become like emotional stability, less negative thinking, fewer negative emotion, less hyper vigilant. Okay. For extraversion, better interpersonal skill, greater social dominance. Okay. More emotionally expressive, openness, increased learning, more creative, more flexible, and autonomous. Okay. The dark triad is a group of negative personality traits consisting of Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Dark triad Machiavellianism continue. It is the degree to which the individual is pragmatic and maintains an emotional distance and belief that ends can justify the means. High much and low versus low much. Manipulate more, win more, persuade less, persuade others more. Narcissism is the tendency to be arrogant, have the grandiose sense of self-importance, require excessive admirations, and has sense of entitlement. Narcissists tend to think that they are better leaders than their colleagues, but their superiors tend to rate them as worse. Psychopathy is the tendency of lack concern of others and lack of guilt and remorse when one action causes harm. It is related to the use of hard influence tactics such as threats, manipulations, and bullying work behavior such as physical and verbal threatening. They may be cunning, which help them gain power in an organization, but they do not use the power toward healthy ends for themselves or their organizations. Personality, other personalities such as that influence OB such as core self-evaluation, self-monitoring, proactive personality. Core self-evaluation is the bottom line conclusion individuals have about their capabilities, competence, and worth as a person. People differ in a degree to which they like or dislike themselves, to see themselves as effective, capable, and controlled. People with positive core evaluation perform better because they set more ambitious goals and are committed to their goal and persist longer. Self-monitoring is a personality trait that measures an individual's ability to adjust behavior to external and situational factors. High self-monitor tends to pay close attention to the behavior of others, be more capable of confirming, be more mobile in their careers, receive more promotions, be more likely to occupy a position in an organization. Proactive personality is a person who identifies opportunities, shows initiative, takes action, and perseveres until meaningful change occurs. People with proactive personality will have higher level of job performance, career success. Action may be positive or negative depending on the organization and situations. Situation theory is a theory indicating that the way personality translates into behavior depends on the strength of the situation. Situation strength is analyzed in terms of four elements such as clarity, consistency, constraint, and consequences. What are the emotions and moods? Affect is a broad range of feelings that people experience. Direct term that covers a broad range of feelings people experience, including emotion and moods. Emotions are intense feelings that are directed at someone or something. Moods are feelings that tend to be less intensive than emotion and lack of the contextual stimulus. What are in this exhibit here? The effect is to define a broad range of feeling that people experience. Affect can be experienced in the form of emotion and moods. The effect points out to emotion and moods. The emotion can cause specific events. Okay. Very brief durations, specific numerous nature, usually accompanied by distinct facial expression, action oriented in nature. The moods, however, can cause often general unclear, last longer than emotions, most general two main dimensions, and positive effect and have a negative effect that also composed of multiple strict emotions, generally not indicated by distinct expression and has connectives in nature. Okay. Emotional labor is when employee express organizational desired emotion during interpersonal transaction and work such as felt emotion, display emotion, surprise acting, deep acting. Okay. What? Why should we care about emotion in the workplace? We call it affective inventory. It's a model that suggests that the workplace event causes emotional reaction on the part of the employees, which then influence the workplace attitudes and behavior. Why should we care about the emotion? Emotion provide important information on how we understand the world around us, and people who knows the emotion and are good at reading others' emotion may be more effective in their jobs. EI, emotional intelligence, why should we care? Is the ability to detect the managed emotional cues and information refers to the individual ability to perceive emotion self and others, understand the meaning of this emotion, regulate emotion according to the models, cascading models. Okay, the model proceeds as follows here. Consciousness receive emotion in self others, cognitive process, understand the meaning of emotion, emotional stability, rigorous emotions. Each of the process arranged from the top bottom connect to downward arrows. There you go. The case for EI, there's an intuitive appeal. EI predicts criteria that matters. EI is biology based. This is biology. The case against EI, EI researchers do not agree on definition. EI cannot be measured. The validity of EI is suspect. Emotion. Why should we continue about emotion? Negative emotion can lead to negative workplace, behavior called employee deviance, such as production, leaving early, intentionally working slowly, property, such as stealing, sabotage, political, such as gossiping, blame co-workers, personal aggression, such as sexual harassment, and verbal abuse. In terms of emotional regulation, to identify and modify the emotion you feel, emotion management will be too strong predictor to task performance and emotional citizen behavior. And then common strategies employed to change emotions such as surface acting, deep acting, acknowledging rather than suppressing emotional responses, and venting. Potential global difference in 4 areas of the chapter such as perception. Studies suggest that perceptual differences in culture affect what we focus on and what we remember. Okay. Attribution. Most studies suggest that there are differences across culture in attribution people make. Personality, the 5 personality factors, the big 5 model appear in almost all cross-cultural studies. Emotion, studies suggest some cultures value and experience certain emotion more than others. Intensity can also come in various degrees. So in summary, perception is a process which we organize and interpret impression to give a meaning of our environment. Attribution theory tries to explain the different way that we judge people based on the meaning we attribute to a given behavior. Personality is the sum of the ways the individual react and interact with the others. The MBIT personality taps into 4 characteristics and classify people as belonging to 1 to 16 personality types. The Big 5 personality model proposes the 5 basic personality dimensions underlying all others, encompass most of the most significant variation in human personality. And then emotions are intense, feeling directed at someone, something such as mood are less intense feelings and often arise without specific event acting as a stimulus. Emotional labor is an employee expression of organization desired emotions during interpersonal transaction at work. And then emotional intelligence represent personal ability to perceive emotion in the self others and understand the meaning of this emotion and regulate our own emotion according in cascading model. Emotion is regulation is a technique used to identify and modify the emotion that you feel. So the next slide will be all about a review that I just mentioned. You can all do this by yourself. Okay, these are the QBOB for review, about three of them, the chapters, and then the next slide for the managers, screening job candidates on in terms of consciousness to the bike five personality. Okay, for managers. Okay, the next one for managers again. Although has been MBIT has been criticized, it has place in organization. You may consider the result helpful for training and development. The result can also help employees to better understand themselves, help the members better understand one another. Expression, open up communication in work group, and possibly reduce the conflicts, and to foster effective decision making, to regulate intense and response to an event by considering legitimacy, and careful in not to co-workers, employee emotion, as well as do not access behavior. There is always 180 managers who understand the role of emotion and moods will actually improve their uh, predict their co-workers and employee behavior. And then we're gonna do this breakout exercise in the classroom later on. Okay, there's a couple of them. This is the first ones, the first breakout sessions for the classroom exercise and perception turnout or perception background that will make cause this happen. Okay, there's a two kind of exercise that we can do for this particular chapter. So let's basically summarize this chapter. I will upload this in YouTube as well as provide this in Edpuzzle for the interactive learning process. Thank you everyone. Hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. Bye bye.